We cover many serious issues in this podcast. This discussion may contain reference to domestic violence, sexual violence, violence against children, suicide, drug use, or graphic depictions of death or dead bodies. It is not suitable for all audiences.
Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries Rewind, two friends get together to discuss episodes of their favorite television show, Unsolved Mysteries. Will they find answers? Will anyone care? You may be able to solve a mystery.
Is Kim. You are listening to Unsolved Mysteries Rewind, and I am joined, as always, by the self-described irresistible Mark.
Only when I'm under the influence, Kim. Legally under the influence.
Right.
So, thank you for this wonderful invite.
I know you said that, like, we are a little stiff on our intro, and you wanted to switch it up, so bam, I just wanted to switch it right up on you.
You did it.
Mm-hmm.
Mission accomplished.
Today we are going to be talking later episode, actually, season 11, episode 8.
Wow. This is an episode that's interesting because this makes me think that we've been doing this show for so long when we have not been doing this episode for that long. But we're we're going back and we're talking about previous cases that we jumped into.
There are two cases on this specific episode that we have covered in other episodes, and we will point it out when we come to them. But the first one is a Bordeaux Murder.
No, this is season 11, episode 8. I don't think you said that. You might have. I am very off this week, Kim. I don't know. I think I want to say Mercury's in retrograde, but I'm going to save that talk for our mini-sode where we talk about past lives.
Yes, I'm very excited.
But I'm feeling very off.
Okay.
So my head is scattered, but you may have said it, but if you did not, it's season 11, episode 8.
Thank you. We are going to get through this together, my friend, but we take place in Powhatan, Kansas. It's fun. In 2012, the population of Powhatan, Kansas was 77 people.
It's like, oh, you had a baby? Like, oh, change the sign, 78.
Exactly. It's so tiny, and it is on the decline. But this story takes place in 1997, November 21st of 1997. It is 12:43 in the morning, and 28-year-old Jody Bordeaux and her husband Sean, they kind of live on the edge of this Kickapoo Native reservation.
Yeah. They've
been married for 2 years. They've been in this house for 1 year. And for weeks, they started receiving all these very mysterious phone calls where the person would like do heavy breathing and then hang up. So one day, Jody thinks that she hears someone outside, but Sean says, it's just a coyote, So nothing to worry about.
He takes his headdress off and goes, just a coyote.
I mean, we are dealing with some Native American people, and I apologize for any terms we may use. We mean no offense.
I think Native American is fine, but they we learned that Sean is part Lakota Native American. Lakota is a little bit. It's a very large. Lakota is more of a language, I always thought, than a tribe. But Lakota is one of the big Middle American kind of groups. I guess it is a tribe, and Sean also works at the Golden Eagle Casino, which is still around.
They both do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. It's interesting because that is a Kickapoo reservation casino, and he is part Lakota, and Jody is actually completely Caucasian, no Native American in her whatsoever. So they're hired to manage the casino, which is run by the Kickapoo tribe. And apparently because of this, there was tension because she is a white woman.
Yeah, I didn't know that they could do this. I would imagine. All right. Now, of course, reservations have to abide by the same laws for the most part when it comes to the states. But I don't know. I just think I would imagine that there's a reason why reservations exist. And there's a reason why I hate saying we allow, but why they are allowed to run casinos and these things that normally wouldn't be able to be done in all states. And it would be because they want to employ natives.
Right. But I got the impression from a few articles that I read that someone in Sean's family is affiliated with the Golden Eagle Casino. And for their wedding present, he basically gifted them these 2 jobs in management at the casino.
It's pretty good gift, right?
Yeah, definitely. So they're kind of transplants here, which is another reason why they're kind of on the outs with the rest of the employees at the casino. So Jody, we find, had several miscarriages. She hired a fertility specialist, and within months, she was pregnant with a baby girl who they had named Jordan Shea Bordeaux.
Now, I didn't get the impression right away that they were, I guess, wealthy. But if you're going to a fertility specialist and you're trying to go through all of this, this is not cheap. This is not something that's normally covered by regular medical insurance.
I mean, we're in 2020 right now. You showed me a house near this place.
I like that house.
I did too. It's gorgeous, but it was for $10,000.
$10,000.
So it's in Kansas.
Want to go
I'm
half
sure. Yeah, seriously, 4-bedroom. Like, it was crazy. So I'm pretty sure that the cost of living is pretty low there, and they do have some high up jobs within the casino. So they're probably sitting pretty high on the hog.
I just can't imagine that they would have a local fertility specialist. If that's the case.
I think they had to go to the big city, and I'll tell you why in a second. But Jody ends up getting promoted to staff supervisor, and Jody and Sean seem to think that some of the staff are resentful over her promotion. So one of the employees, I'm sorry to laugh, but this is hilarious, accused her of lying about her grandmother dying because I guess it was like the busiest weekend of the year, and Jody wasn't there because she went to go to a funeral. But it gave me my favorite line in all of Unsolved Mysteries history.
No, it's not funny. But, I'm saying you're not laughing because it's funny. You're laughing because the pure audacity of somebody saying this with a straight face is insane to me. And
I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit funny. Like,
I totally laughed.
Through a bad reenactment, but he goes, "I heard your grandma died. How convenient." I just love it. It was so bonkers. And she was like, "What? What are you talking about?" So she had to report on the how convenient guy, who is like a slot tech guy, for bad job performance. I guess he was late for work a lot. So he's brought in front of like the tribal council board for review, and he was reprimanded for this and eventually fired.
And that's another thing is I'm kind of curious how the appeal process works. I mean, you're firing a fellow tribesperson.
Yes.
Not to say that they should be able to get away with anything, but I don't know. There's 77 people in the community. It's not a huge pool of people to choose from. And I'm going to imagine that they have to hire community members. I just don't know what the laws are. I couldn't find the rules.
I don't know that. I know that all the rules for the casino go through the tribal council. However, what I do know is that Powhatan had more than 77 people in the 90s. It has been steadily declining. So that's 2010 numbers. But I also know that they said Powhatan was on the edge of the reservation. So I don't think that where they lived was within the reservation.
Now, have you ever visited a reservation?
I sure have. I've visited casinos.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to casinos, and here on Long Island, we have the Shinnecock Reservation, and where they have a huge powwow, and it's been there forever. Probably not this year, but it's always, when you go there, it is really, really inclusive. You don't find white people working the booths. You don't find, anybody but natives working the booths. And it's great. Kind of interesting for me to have learned that they did hire this white woman. But yeah, you're right. Like, they pull a couple strings and it happens.
Yeah, I think they had somebody on the inside. But right after this guy's fired, like a few weeks later, a complaint against Jody was brought directly to the tribal council over her head, and she ended up losing her job. So Sean later says that the slot tech guy, the how convenient guy, complained that he was fired for being late when Jody was late every day. And Sean explained that Jody was late because she was meeting with the fertility specialist and would make up like the extra hour later in the day, which you can't do. And maybe you should have been reprimanded for that. But that's what makes me think that she went to an out-of-town fertility specialist.
That's true. Like, she would need to take the day to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So she spent the next month trying to get her job back, and it sounds like the door wasn't entirely closed, but sadly, she was killed before anything came of it. So
Mm.
when, when the news started to spread that the door was possibly open for her to come back, is when the anonymous calls that we talked about before started. So
Yeah, and that's where things get a little bit cloudy too, because it doesn't. Time has gone by. She's been pregnant now for 7 months. We learn, and she hears a sound. The basically, what is that? A dog hears a sound, or the dog kind of alerts them, and Sean follows the dog outside, and Sean hears gunshots and goes back, and she's on the floor. It just seems so convenient. Like, I don't know. There's something missing here. There's some information. There's a lot of information, I think, missing.
Yes, I totally agree. And as always, Unsolved Mysteries really tries to veer us in one direction.
Yeah.
But my thought is, if it was that direction that you guys think, then this probably wouldn't have been an unsolved mystery. Like, let's start thinking outside the box. So Sean goes over to his 7 months pregnant wife, and she is shot in the head. She is dead. There is no saving this woman. So he calls 911 because he's trying to save the baby now. So it just
I thought the whole way they described this part was so weird. Like, he kisses the belly and he's thinking, my poor baby is slowly dying.
That was hard. He said, Jody had a quick death, but my baby, who's relying on its mother for air, for food, for everything, had that slowly taken away from her. And it's like, whoa. And when you add a name to the baby, like, this was a baby in there.
Yeah, 7 months. You can deliver at 7 months, and the baby could be totally fine. That's just a preemie.
Yeah, so he does kiss the baby bump, and at that moment he says he knew that the baby was dead too. So no one has been charged with the murder. There's no witnesses. We meet the county attorney who's in charge of a murder investigation, and he says that he thinks it's someone who had like a beef with her at her job. So basically, it's complicated matters with the police because they're working and living around this reservation, and they say on Unsolved Mysteries that Native Americans are hesitant to talk with non-Native police officers. And I know that this is not politically correct, but this is an episode from like 23 years ago.
Sure.
So since the murder, Sean's moved. Now, just hypothetically speaking, just him talking to Mark.
Putting on your tinfoil hat that hopefully people have learned about that they can get for free for just leaving us a review.
Find us on our Facebook page, Unsolved Mysteries Rewind Podcast.
What?
But
Free? What?
Any chance husband Sean is in on this? I'll tell you why. I'm just saying. You always have to look at the husband, and you always have to look at the last person to have seen her alive.
Also, the actions that husband takes immediately after.
He was conveniently out of the room at the time that it happened. He is the person with the most to gain, if you want to call it that, from killing a pregnant woman, is the father of that child who is like not ready for that crazy next step or whatever. I mean, look, Scott Peterson, like people do it all the time.
Yeah.
He abruptly leaves the state, goes to South Dakota right after the murder, which I get it. I would not want to stay in the same house that my pregnant spouse was murdered in.
Yeah. And it was, at least in a reenactment, I kind of got this whole impression of kind of a dreary existence. A little bit.
Yeah.
It's a reenactment, but I mean, it's.
I hear you, though. And like they're kind of putting it all on Slot Tech guy.
Yeah,
but
I didn't catch that so much, personally. No, I mean, I caught them pushing it. I just didn't really buy into it.
But he already got his retribution by getting her fired. What would he have to gain for murdering a pregnant woman? And I'm not saying he didn't do it. I don't know who did it.
And this is months and months later. I mean, geez.
I'm always skeptical when somebody moves right after. Like, you'd think you'd want to be around, at least in Kansas still, where you could still talk with investigators and see how the case is going. But he packed up, moved to South Dakota. He's actually now in the House of Representatives.
I read some of the bills that he's supported and put up, and seems to be, on paper, a pretty hell of a decent guy when it comes to his politics.
He's remarried. He's got more kids out there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't think we have an answer here, but one thing we didn't learn about, and I did a quick search on it, but was there an insurance policy? Was there any type of financial gain at the end of the story? And I cannot find any.
I didn't see anything like that. I did see that the Kansas Bureau of Investigations is offering a $5,000 reward.
Yeah, that seemed. I mean, all right, maybe adjusted for inflation, that could have been something back in. When was this, in the 20th century? But
well, according to the Topeka, Kansas, or Topeka Capital Journal Online, there are at least 2 other slayings that are tied to the reservation that remain unsolved. So just putting all our cards out on the table here.
Yeah, I can't help but think, and this is a little bit of a joke, but I'm not making fun of anybody's death, of course, but I keep thinking of Parks and Recreation and the reservation that is always on there, and I think of their meetings, and it's a really lighthearted way to show the way reservations deal with small towns like Pawnee.
Yeah, Ken Wotate, the guy who plays like the leader, is hilarious. Like, I love it, and all the murals. Like, it's so horrifying.
Such a funny show. But so if you need a break, sometimes you need a break from all of these kind of dark mysteries, Kim. And
seriously,
we need to lighten the mood, and sometimes putting on a show like Parks and Recreation, or in my case, like The Office or Always Sunny in Philadelphia. These are shows, just kind of, it's a nice way to snap into just sometimes dark humor where you can just laugh and feel goofy.
And something that is a little bit lighter is this next story that we're going to talk about. There's no death, no anything, a little, your wallet might be a little lighter, but it is a bit of a lighter story.
The music that comes out of it is pretty tragic, though, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh. Did you watch the music video? Yeah.
Did I watch it? Of course I loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty great. But we are in a, quote, poor working class Hispanic neighborhood, which is in North Hollywood. But this scam actually took place all over Southern California. So these new music schools are opening up with low-cost lessons.
What year was this taking place?
They didn't say.
It's just, all right, poor working-class Hispanic neighborhoods do not always translate to having large credit lines. So that's all. I'm just putting it out there as it's kind of strange. Those two things usually don't correlate with each other.
I can see. I can understand where you're coming from.
I think working class anywhere for the most
exactly.
part. But I mean, especially North Hollywood, of course. And I do, and we're talking about areas that really don't rely very often on things like credit. Even now, they deal with money in pocket. And
exactly, cash on the barrel.
Yeah, and paycheck to paycheck. And that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying it's. I'm going to guess that these type of things were definitely trying to get people who had a little bit of money, because some of the scams went very, very high. Right?
And even something so much as $32 a week, which we'll get into, is a lot if you don't have an expendable income.
Sure. Absolutely.
So these schools are owned by Mario Yunus and Omar Arroyo, and they hired these top-notch music teachers to help teach students the accordion. So Mario is a former studio musician, and Omar is a used car salesman / aspiring salsa singer. And you can look him up. It is Asi Asi.
Yeah, we'll put the
YouTube.
link to it in the show notes. Although I can't, I found a channel that is named after him, and he might be doing more hip hop stuff now.
Oh,
yeah, I'll share it with you later, because I can't tell if it's the same guy and he just gained a few pounds.
Okay, well, look into that. But they basically said the kids who do well will win a quote-unquote scholarship to learn to play the piano, the organ, and the accordion.
The accordion. I mean, I've played the accordion. Accordion's actually a very difficult instrument to play. It's just, it's not usually the instrument that you lean towards to learn for a child. It's not that cool,
Totally. No, it's very dorky. No offense for all our accordion players out there, but the parents would pay for the 3 years and buy the accordion, and in return they would get music lessons and field trips to Disneyland for whatever reason.
That's pretty cool. I mean, and just real quick, my son went to a martial arts type of thing. And this is kind of the scam that all of them use. I say scam, but this is the method of getting you to get tied in where the price is like, affordable at first, and so it's going up and up and up, and you want to be in the ninja club, and you want to be in this thing, and now you can use weapons. And all of a sudden, they will eventually say, hey, all you have to do is make a 3-year commitment, pay up front, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, it's very difficult to make a 3-year commitment for 2 main reasons with a kid. One, you have no interest. This kid's not going to have much of an interest in 18 months in the same thing. And 2, they're looking at, for my situation, it was about $7,000 to lay out. And that's a lot of money.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
So I think I bought my kid off. I was like, how about this? How about I just buy you some for $300?
How about I just buy you some weapons so you practice at home?
Exactly. Like when I was a kid, you get a pair of nunchucks, you hit yourself in the head, you put them in the drawer, and you don't ever see them again.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. You can go on.
No, but essentially this scam is that they would call parents and say, your kid just won the chance for these free music lessons. They're like, okay, great. So they take their kid, they give free music lessons for a while before saying, like, your kid is so good at the accordion. Yeah. They need to take permanent music classes. So they're like, oh, okay,
every parent's dream. I'm not going to lie. Every parent wants to hear, like, he has a gift or she has a gift. Yeah. And they do. You know what I mean? Like, they're learning, they're getting better. And for them, probably the most part, this stuff is legit. But yeah, in this situation, not legit.
And I have to say, I said in our notes, this is basically the plot to Music Man with a few obvious differences that we'll get to later. But this is so close to the plot for Music Man. So the parents are like, oh my God, like, you're so good, honey. We're gonna pay for lessons and for the instrument, but we can do so via financing. So you're only charged like $32 a week, a month, whatever it was. So they give the guys their credit card numbers, and now that they got the credit card numbers, they charge these huge towns like huge bills, skip town, lock the door. They are never coming back.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. For $30 or something, you could say, all right, well, you know what? I canceled. You overbilled me a month. I can get, you just kind of let it go. But some of these people, they were just like, all right, you know what? We're going to do the $1,800 up front. You get this cheap accordion that's probably only a couple $100.
Exactly.
And, you're kind of stuck with it. It's like, what do you do? Because you've also probably signed a contract that has a stipulation in there to do this. So, but maybe not. I don't. These contracts are also very, very convoluted sometimes. But some parents are charged up to nearly $40,000.
$40,000 on their credit card for stuff that went towards like financing their music careers.
In at least 1990s money,
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of credit line to have in Wisconsin.
But something that's even more messed up is that because they had the kids' socials on the applications to the music schools, they would open up credit cards in the kids' names, charge them, and then just screw these kids over, and they have bad credit for the rest of their life.
And that's the big scam, I think. That's the big, getting, basically doing, what is it called? Identity theft, where you just, you can take out mortgages on people if you have enough information. It's really, really crazy, especially at this period of time. I'm going to guess, let's say at the very least 90s, there wasn't so much cross-referencing and double-checking, especially at a period of time when mortgages were really being handed out at high interest rates. It probably was very easy to get these type of loans. Crazy.
According to the police, they made $1.5 million in a year, and they had over 200 victims. So the parents find out that the school's opening in a new location, so they're like, we're going to confront them. So they go with a news crew to go try and confront the men, and the manager called the cops and had everybody escorted off of the property. So we meet Detective Baeo, who is with the Financial Crimes Division, which is kind of fun. I didn't know that was a thing. He discovers that they've been doing this scam all over town. And as we said before, Omar spent some of the money to make a salsa CD called Asi Asi under the name Luis Omar.
But this isn't, at this point, you're like, all right, well, you know what? Let's see what the update is. But the weirdness, and not the weirdness, but the drama has only begun for this story.
Exactly. So Maria, the other partner, is now Delia Leone. Mario had taken over $30,000 from one of the kids' parents' credit card bills and had undergone gender reassignment surgery in San Francisco.
Now, when you have this kind of money, of course, you're probably throwing around some serious cash for this gender reassignment surgery.
I'd say.
Like, I mean, I'm assuming it's plural. I mean, you can't just have one.
Yeah, I think so. And hormones and, who knows? There's a lot going on. But now the two become lovers and they move into this like amazing house. And they said now that Mario is Delia, the two become lovers. But I mean, who knows that wasn't going on before.
Yeah. I felt very sad about this when they said that they had brought in kids from a former relationship from Puerto Rico so that they could, and I think they did use the words just like you wrote here, so they could look like one big happy family.
Exactly.
That just depressed me a bit because it's like you're really using these kids as pawns and you're using them for the moment, and they're really expendable, and they're probably going to be going back to Puerto Rico pretty soon.
Yeah, these two people are users, 100%. And I felt sad about that too, but I would be lying if I said that I wasn't distracted by Delia's pants in that scene, because I would wear that outfit head to toe. It was like Golden Girl chic, like just a fabulous lounging by the pool with your scummy husband.
I have to go back. I was, I think I was looking at the pool itself, and I was just like, oh man,
it was a nice house.
I wish I had no morals and I could just scam people. Jeez.
You know what? There's always hope. You're only 47.
Yeah.
So a new office assistant decided to go to the police because of all the complaints from the parents, and it was just getting crazy. So Detective Vallejo goes on a stakeout to identify the suspects, and a few days later, in 2001, here we go, here's the time, police raided the home.
1 month after 9/11. It's like,
yeah,
you guys are like, there's a lot of stuff going on here in New York and everything. It's like, we're going to raid the house. It just,
I know.
For me, the mentality of the bust has to be kind of weird, and plus, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me.
Bigger fish to fry. But Delia attempted to escape, but was apprehended actually along with a man who we don't know yet, or we don't know through Unsolved Mysteries, who is also involved in the swindle, named Juan Manuel Roca. And I would like to give the MVP Reenactor Award to Delia. She is amazing. And I thought that they handled the trans issue very respectfully for, 2001.
We've seen them handle it a lot less sensitively. And
with Cam Lyman,
yeah, like people would just laugh at her, and it's like, what,
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that we see a little bit of maturity here with Unsolved Mysteries, and this was we don't have an exact date on this episode, but it's at least 20 years ago.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this episode pulled stories all over the place, just enough to fit them into an hour. So we learned that Omar had actually left to Puerto Rico the night before of All the Luck in the World to go do a promotional tour for his Asi Asi CD.
It's a good song.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to have it in my head all day. But we do get an update. On August 30th, 2003, Omar was arrested running a music school in Costa Rica using the name Mario Yunus, which was the name of Delia Leon before Mario became Delia. So Omar was arrested, extradited, sentenced to 6 years for fraud.
It's crazy to me because they got away with this for years.
Oh, yeah.
And they were somehow able to launder the money into things like buying a house and spending money in general. There's so much more to this story that we never learn.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. I found a few articles just from like the press releases when from the county of LA or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we do learn that Delia, who has since changed her name to Marilyn Eunice, took a plea and was sentenced to 12 years. So Delia actually got double the time. And I'm just guessing that was probably because she took a plea. So he had more wiggle room, with not taking a plea, and that's probably why Omar only got 6 years.
Well, I was blown away by the information they found, which is that they were charged with 146 felony counts.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we had grand theft, identity theft, forgery, perjury, credit card fraud, and false credit applications. So that was a very entertaining and, like we said, a little more lighthearted, no murder. Definitely had people being used, though.
Yeah, and we do get to follow his music career because if it is, in fact, him, he's putting out videos up until just a few months ago.
And thank God for that.
Our
first, we get our first callback to an episode of Unsolved Mysteries Rewind.
Yeah, this is more of a glaring over.
The balcony death.
the mysterious balcony death that involved
Sandra Oriano and Robert Salazar. Oh my gosh, I just pulled those from the top of my head.
Did you really? Because I
Yes,
could
I
not
did.
remember them at all.
Yeah, so I apologize if I mess up. I'm pretty sure it's right, but we go into so much deeper detail on Unsolved Mysteries Rewind episode 20, and we cover all the updates and more. We even have like a 2020 update on this guy.
You need to rewind this episode, well, this podcast, and go back a few episodes, right?
I see what you did there.
This is episode 27, so you just have to go 7 eepisodes back.
Yeah, exactly. So, we covered it. I think we did it more justice than this little update did it. But, it basically told us that he was found not guilty.
Yeah, and your opinion is the goatee adds a lot. It covers up something that we don't want to see.
I was never more creeped out. I thought he looked, and this is not professional, this is just my opinion, I thought he looked rapier without the goatee. Like, I would not go to that guy's hotel room. Like, he creeped me out.
No, Jack doesn't have facial hair, right?
Yo, he does.
Why am I thinking he doesn't have facial hair?
I don't know.
No, I have facial hair. Now, whenever I am going to shave, because I let my beard grow like crazy sometimes, and whenever I do it, there have been a few times where I go completely clean shaven, and my wife is like, ugh! It's like she hates it. And she's like, oh, God, you're so ugly, that type of thing. She doesn't mean it, but it's like, people look like a different
jarring.
person. And she goes, you look 12, and this whole stupid thing. And it's just one of those kind of weird things. And she's like, you have a weird freckle. And so, seriously, she's relentless. So, yeah, when people shave, they look like completely different people, or vice versa, when they have a beard or, so it's just kind of funny. I think I've seen a lot of photos of Jack, at least almost clean shaven. I don't know. I have to go and look at pictures of your husband after this.
Oh, that's why
Jack,
those
if
are
you're
on your
listening,
browser.
I'm only going to look a little bit.
Yeah, he can pull it off either way. He switches it up a lot. He'll have longer hair and no beard. He's like, just mix and match, whichever way the wind blows. So,
but I think it's like glasses. Sometimes it's just one of those things where people look like different people when they interchange these little things that we don't really put too much thought into.
Yeah, totally. But, get all your laughs out now because we are about to get bummed out.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting too because we get a little bit of a history of something that's in effect currently. Not this moment, but it's currently being used by the police.
I disagree, but I know what you're talking about. So we'll get to it. But we are talking about Amber Swartz Garcia. Now, I got a lot of this from the book Stalemate, which we talk about on the episode of Unsolved Mysteries. But there's also an article by Lori Pruitt from NBC San Diego. Now, we cover actually a lot of these victims and suspects in Unsolved Mysteries Rewind episode 11. And I'm not shamelessly plugging it, but we really do go down that rabbit hole. The only thing is, because I didn't want us to get sued, whatever, we didn't give this guy's last name. But since they did on Unsolved Mysteries, you can bet we're going to talk about him today.
Sure.
So we're in Pinole, California. It is Friday, June 3rd, 1988. And Kim Swartz is making dinner when little 7-year-old Amber asks if she can go play jump rope outside.
And I love this reenactor. I know I put a little screenshot of her face, but if you got to look, when it's like, no, I don't want you jump roping outside or something, and she's like, please. And she makes this funny duck face, mad face. And it's just it's so good that I didn't have a daughter because I would just fall for it every time.
And I have to say that she looks a lot like Amber.
Yes, completely.
They picked a good one. So they had friends coming by soon. I guess one of the friends just had a baby. And so Amber was just going to play outside until the friends got there. The friends were 5, 10, 15 minutes away. So the friends get to the house and the little girl's like, where's Amber? Where's Amber? And Kim's like, you should have seen her because she was jumping rope outside. And the friend and the friend's daughter are like, no, she isn't. We did not see her on our way in. So Kim's like, yeah, she is. Maybe she's in the vacant lot. Go look for Amber in the vacant lot. So the little girl runs and it's like, Amber isn't out there. So Kim is full panic. She runs outside Amber, where are you? Oh, heart-wrenching.
Yeah, the whole thing is, it's like when you lose anything. I mean, probably even as a kid, you remember being the kid who gets lost briefly. And it's like, I don't know where I am. And time goes by. She starts calling neighbors to see if anybody's seen her. No one. And sadly, nobody ever sees Amber again.
Yeah, and this is not the first tragedy in Kim's life. Her husband and Amber's father, who was Officer Floyd Bernie Swartz, was a police officer who was killed in the line of duty by this parolee murderer guy who was like tripped out on LSD. Yeah. His name is James Richard Odell, and he was killed when she was pregnant with Amber, and she was only 28 at the time.
Now, the Garcia name, I was curious where that came from. And,
me too.
So afterward, Kim had started dating Al Garcia.
Oh, okay.
I think they got married. I'm not 100% sure if they got married, but I believe he adopted Amber.
Thank you for that info. I did not find that, and I was curious too because I assumed Floyd was Garcia, so I was surprised to see the hyphen.
Floyd Swartz, that's a Jewish name. There's no Garcia in that. Bernie was his nickname. I mean, it's, but yeah, I mean, it's very tragic. I'm also going to be curious out here where when the officer was killed in the line of duty, I would imagine that she would be getting some type of fund. You would receive his pension.
Yeah.
And which is later on you bring up a certain question that they ask about the being at the SSI office, when FBI agents are questioning Kim. And I'm kind of curious about that. Like, what was that about? And, I mean, it could also be Unsolved Mysteries banter. It might not have been legitimate.
Interesting. Well, I do just want to, before we put a pin in Floyd Bernie, I want to say that James Richard Odell is currently on death row in San Quentin for the murder. So the next day after Amber disappears, a pair of pink socks are found in a park nearby. Yeah. And they know that those socks were not there the previous night because they searched it. And Amber's mom says, those were the socks, I put Amber in, I dressed her.
What do you think of that? I mean, I put a little note here just because... Do you think, all right, well, they didn't find any evidence, and maybe I'll put something out there as kind of a sick game?
I mean, we have some sick people in this episode that we're going to talk about, like in this little story. I could see it being like a very tasteless prank. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we've heard tasteless pranks. Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I don't actually necessarily think that they were Amber's. I'm sure that probably the police were like, we're going to put an OPB out, for a little girl. She was wearing this pink socks. And somebody was like, hey, be funny to mess with the police. Like teenager stupid stuff.
Right. Kind of like those letters that we uncovered. Somebody was writing letters to the family of somebody who's murdered. I forget their name. The Canadian
Tanya
people.
von Kulenborg.
Oh, my God, the memory.
Oh my gosh, they just haunt me.
Yeah.
Jay Wood, I think was
about
her,
that all
her
the
boyfriend.
Time. I don't know why that particular story really has affected me.
Because it's cruel. In addition to the cruelness already, they take it up a notch. I totally agree with you. But like you were saying before, FBI agents come in and they ask Kim, the mom, if she and Amber had been to the SSI office recently, or if they had received anything in the mail from someone they didn't know. Had Amber come home with anything she couldn't explain? Had Kim received phone calls from anyone she didn't know? And Kim's like, these are so specific that they have to have somebody in mind. Like, why are they asking me these questions? So 3 days after Amber is abducted, Kim was visited by Timothy Bindner. And this is the guy who we talk about.
The reenactment creeped me out so much.
Oh, yeah, the real guy is so creepy.
It was like the free candy van,
Yes.
You pulled up the information. I don't know if this is in the Unsolved Mysteries, his vanity plate on his automobile.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh my God.
So, and I've heard it before because we did cover him in episode 11 of Unsolved Mysteries Rewind, but Kim says that Timothy looked like he'd been up all night. And he kept saying, I want to save Amber. I want to bring her home to you.
Tears.
Yeah, and he had actually said to her, too, which isn't in the Unsolved Mysteries, I want to be the one who brings her body home. And Kim's body, we don't know she's dead yet. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, I just want to be her hero. So he is so creepy. He had the vanity tags, love you, on his creeper white free candy van, like you said, white windowless. And it is covered with Amber's missing persons posters. And they used Amber's actual missing person, the actual Amber Swartz, not reenactment Amber.
Yeah.
So Kim says he starts crying. Yeah.
No, I was just I'm kind of amazed that they did that. that they went and they actually made up the missing posters.
Yeah, no, it felt odd. It felt like weird that they used the real ones. So Kim says like he starts bawling. He is so emotional and she is so uncomfortable with this. And we learn a little bit later, this guy called John Philpin, he is a trained psychologist, and he wrote Stalemate, a shocking true story of child abduction and murder. He spent over 1,000 hours, allegedly, with Timothy Bindner, and he wrote this book all about Bindner and the investigation into a bunch of missing girls in California in the late 80s. So they're talking, and John Burris, who is Bindner's attorney, is like, nothing to see here, just a really good guy.
Yeah, I didn't get a great feeling from John Burris, so I did a quick little search, and it's crazy. He has kind of a big history. He was the attorney who represented Rodney King in his civil rights lawsuit against the LAPD.
That's big.
And won him nearly $4 million in 1994.
Wow.
And he also represented Barry Bonds in something. I don't know what that was all about. And a side note, he defended a 6-year-old boy accused of murdering an infant in 1996, named, I guess it's to protect his identity, Brandon T. I'll put a link to what I found. It's like a Wikipedia entry. But yeah, like that's pretty big. You know, John Burris is a pretty high level attorney. But I didn't get this impression from him on Unsolved Mysteries.
No, he was like, I felt like he didn't even believe what he was saying about Timothy Bindner. So Tim had this disgusting, crazy interest in the grave of 5-year-old Angela Bouguet, who, again, we covered this before, but she was sexually assaulted and strangled by her stepfather. He would visit her grave 90 times per year, up to 90 times per year, because he was under surveillance.
I mean,
so
that's
the
like
officer
a part-time
saw
job.
This.
Doing the math, I realize it's at the very least 4 times a week, every week for a year.
And he lived pretty close to it. We will put on the Facebook page like this map of where he lived versus where all these disappearances took place and the gravesite. He lived pretty close to it, but and you know I like going to cemeteries. I do the find a grave photo stuff. I enjoy being around cemeteries. I don't go to the same one of a little girl who's been raped and murdered 90 times a year. Like, that is crazy.
If anything, if you were to do something like that, it would be to pay tribute once. You know, it's not...
Exactly.
It's where it ends. Like, you don't need to continuously return to this, you know, really sad... I mean, even if you are emotionally connected to trying to find who killed this person... you don't need to continuously return. I mean, you need psychological help, basically.
I wouldn't visit my family member's grave 90 times in 1 year. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, me either.
But, you know, we're awful people.
We are. We're not the best people in the world, Kim. We're trying.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. But a bloodhound actually tracked little Amber's scent to Angela's gravesite and in Bindner's van. And the same thing actually happened with Michaela Garrett. And this is where our episode 11 comes in. So 2 months after Michaela Garrett disappeared, you know, the little girl on the scooter and the guy put the scooter behind, 13-year-old Eileen Misselhoff is abducted. And Timothy Bindner was largely thought to be a suspect, but he still, quote unquote, helped search for Eileen. Now, we're going to ratchet up the creepy here. A few years later, a mother named Liz reported to the police that her 12-year-old daughter, Sheila, started receiving letters from a man who she didn't know, who turned out to be Timothy Bindner. He saw her at a baseball game and was like, oh, Sheila, like, my love, basically, and started stalking her.
Now, what year is this?
Oh, God, I don't know. Good question. Sorry, I don't know.
Is this the 80s?
Like 88, yeah, I think.
I mean,
around there.
You take the comparison of reaching out to a child physically. I mean, you didn't have many options in 1988 if you wanted to, you know, reach out to somebody and write a letter and communicate with them, right? I mean, what could you do? You could call them. You could write them a letter, and it's almost that's about it. Maybe you could run into them coming out of school. Nowadays, you know, things are so explosive, and there's, you know, TikTok and Instagram and all of these things that children are on. And that's why I think sometimes this stuff is probably happening so much more. And I don't, it really creeps me out that it's happening it's so blunt back then. I can only imagine the comparison nowadays.
He had to find her name, find her address, and start sending her all this stuff. So the first letter is creepy. I'm not going to read it in its entirety for the interest of time, but he sends her like a quote unquote Indian penny and a peace type silver dollar. Now, the second letter, I would like to read most of it because it is so gross. It made my skin crawl. Yeah. Okay, here's the second letter. Dear Sheila. Oh, did I already mention that they're written completely backwards so that you have to...
crazy to me.
Yeah. He's like, you have to hold this in a mirror to look at it. Like, so the mom wouldn't figure it out or something. So he would write this little girl backwards letters. So he said, Dear Sheila, you can read this if you stand on your head and climb through the mirror. That would be a good way to begin the day, don't you think? The peace dollar was a hope, and the Indian penny is always a wish for good luck. If you or your parents want to ask me anything, please write like this. Otherwise, I might have to stand on my head and climb through the mirror to read it. I dare not send you a hug or a kiss, so instead I send you 1/3 of a hug, 2/millionths of a kiss, and 13 decillion dreams. Your friend, Tim.
Idiot.
Ugh, it's so creepy. There were many letters he would send her. Love, poems, all this kind of stuff. And he would send her letters that were like, I would never hurt a child. I only wanted to be your friend. Why are your parents so angry with me? Like, oh, it's so creepy.
There is so much wrong about this guy, and he just gives me the complete douche chills.
Yeah, and I was listening to episode 11 earlier today because I just wanted to see what we had already said about it. But you were saying it dead on. Like, if you saw this guy, you would run in the other direction, basically. I don't know if you remember, he was coming out of a jury trial because he lied about who he was, and he had, like, a library book in his hand, and you were trying to figure out what library book that was.
I don't remember that, no.
Well, in December 27th of 1991, a little bit of time has passed. This is a few blocks away from where all the Sheila letters were received. Another young girl, 4-year-old Amanda Nikki Campbell, disappeared.
Another sad reenactment.
Of a little girl just riding her bicycle and then, like, fading into oblivion. Oh, it was so sad.
And the brother was just like, I don't care where you're going.
I know. Well, which is pretty accurate.
It is accurate. It was just like, that kid's got to have some serious guilt.
Oh, I can't imagine.
This is 2 days after Christmas and a few days before New Year's.
They said, like, she was last seen wearing her little Santa Claus earrings and all this. I know. So heartbreaking. So 4 days after little Nikki disappears, her scent is actually found on or near the grave of 5-year-old Angela Bouguet, the grave that he is, like, obsessed with. So police have a search warrant. They search his house. They find nothing.
Let me ask you a question about that.
Yeah.
Do you think that they thought, let's bring the dog to the grave to see, because we know this, this lunatic is visiting here constantly. Mm-hmm. Do you think that maybe he'll, his scent will be picked up there, and therefore her scent?
It's totally possible. I know with Amber that her scent was found in his van and on the grave. So are you saying like maybe their scent transfers to him and his goes to the grave?
Do you think like they're thinking, do you think that they're like, we have to check out this guy? So he's visiting here all the time. Let's check out the grave. And they did pick up a scent, because it's not like the dog thought, it's not like a trail led to the grave, it seems.
Right. Yeah, true. And they knew that he has this like crazy obsession with this place. So why don't we bring the dogs in and check it out? But I can imagine how hard it would be for a dog when you are surrounded by the smell of like death and decomposition.
It's 6 feet under, though. I don't.
Yeah, but a dog knows, though.
You think?
Okay. Those are so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I don't know much about corpse sniffing dogs, but I mean, I can imagine that there are, probably, and there's a ton of different unique smells there from all types of different people.
And I know that Robert Stack does tell us through Unsolved Mysteries that bloodhound evidence is not the most relied upon in trial in California, but Timothy Bintner has the cojones to file a $25 million defamation of character suit against the city for basically saying he's a suspect in this, which is such a slippery slope. Where does it end?
It paid off.
I mean, yeah, they paid off $90,000. They settled out of court. So not the $25 million he was hoping for, but I'm sure that they were just hoping to like get this guy to just shut up. So Timothy, of course, turned down Unsolved Mysteries' request for an interview. If you guys want to read that Stalemate book, a lot of it is on Google Books for free. Like half of the book is for free. I got a good way to do it, but I was like, I don't want to spend any more time with this guy in my brain. Like, it was so bad.
Do you really think that 1,000 hours of research was put into that book?
No, that's such BS. That's 1,000 hours that they spent together, which is 42 straight days together.
Maybe it was at Disneyland or something.
Oh my God. With all the kids from the music school on their field trip.
There's so much weirdness.
Yeah. So during an interview with the FBI, convicted child killer Curtis Dean Anderson confessed to abducting and murdering Amber, but he dies 30 days later in prison. He was in jail for the rape and murder of 7-year-old Ziana Fairchild, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, in 1999 when he confessed to Amber's killing. But he also confessed to a ton of stuff that it's, not super likely that he committed. A lot of these guys are like, oh, that's super high profile case. Yeah, I did that.
Right.
So
maybe someone will write a book about me type of thing.
Exactly. And it just pisses me off because he was sentenced in 2005 for Ziana's murder and he dies in 2007. So he had almost no punishment for his crimes. And here's his story if you guys wanted to be skeeved out just a little bit more. He says he's a cab driver and he's like driving to his aunt's house in Arizona. He got, quote unquote, lonely. So he pulled off the highway to, quote unquote, get some company. He sees little Amber playing jump rope in her front yard and grabs her and throws her into the vehicle. He drugged her with root beer schnapps, took her to a motel room. Thankfully, it doesn't get specific here, but he is a known child molester and rapist. He says he killed her in the motel, stuffed her body into the trunk of his car, and tried to cross the border into Mexico, which is like an 8-hour trip from Pinole, California. He was denied crossing at the border because he was so drunk. So he's like, okay, so he drove off to his aunt's house in Benson, Arizona, and he dumped Amber's body off of Highway 10.
Are we to believe that you can go to the border drunk and not be incarcerated?
I know, and then they'll send you on your merry way. They're like, we don't want your drunk ass in Mexico. Go to Arizona.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that. Maybe in the 60s or the 50s, but this is the 90s, I think.
Yeah, this is 88.
Oh, nearly the 90s. And
yeah. No disrespect.
No, I know, I'm kidding. But I mean, it's, I don't know. It just doesn't seem so believable to me, personally.
Yeah, and Unsolved Mysteries says the case is still open, but that's actually not true. I read that article that I was talking about earlier. They said that authorities admit that they have no physical evidence that links Anderson to the disappearance, but they have concluded that the information Anderson told the FBI while in prison, as well as further circumstantial evidence gathered since, proves beyond a reasonable doubt that he is her killer. Kim Swartz says she wished she had some piece of physical evidence that could prove Anderson's confession is true. And if you want your heart to break, she also said, we hoped that we would at least have something that we could bury with her father.
It's so
bummer.
It is such a tragic situation.
Yeah, and Kim is out there doing her best. Like, she has a foundation for Amber. She helps other parents of missing children. And if I can, what I think you were going to say was that this is the Amber for Amber alert.
Yeah, I thought it was. It's not?
Different Amber. When I first watched this, I thought that this was the Amber Alert Amber. So I Googled Amber Alert because I was surprised that they didn't mention it in this. And it's a completely different Amber.
Oh, wow. That's even worse.
Yeah, I know. No, there's no shortage of child abduction. It's horrible.
Yeah, the more I look into it, the more I find, and one of the rabbit holes I'm kind of going through right now, I think I shared this with you, is this this like kind of justice warrior thing going on YouTube where people are tricking people into meeting them and then confronting them on camera and then posting the videos. I don't know the legality of all of that.
Rogue to catch a predator.
Yeah, and some of these people are ridiculous. Some of the people who are doing it, it's like you're kind of entrapment. I mean, I'm just saying they're not covering their asses all the time. But the bottom line is they are uncovering a lot of these people who I'm hoping that kind of maybe are learning a lesson. And I think we're very close to somebody committing suicide, though, because
I know.
We see videos that are getting like 200,000 views in a day, and this is somebody's face out there. So anyway, if you watch those type of things, they are entertaining, but I don't know if it's entertainment. I don't know if it's appropriate for entertainment.
I hear you. No, that was so profound what you just said. I totally hear you.
Yeah, I can't look away, and I won't. It's just
I won't.
and I won't. I'm sorry. I'm not a great person. Okay.
No, it's fine. But you know what? Speaking of not great people, this
let me just take
story,
a sip of my shake. My
yeah,
wife made
I
it
know.
for me.
Oh my God. God, too soon. This one actually keeps unraveling when you think you're at the end of the story. You're not at the end. But we have veteran, good guy, Gilbert Ortiz. He moves with his wife, Elizabeth, and his son, Jonathan, to Redwood City, California. Do you
know Redwood City, California?
No, not
okay.
especially.
Yeah, me either. I was just curious where it was.
No, not especially. I grew up in Southern California. My grandparents lived in Northern, so I spent a lot of time up there in Sonora and all that kind of stuff. But Gilbert and Elizabeth used to fight all the time. And sorry, I got a lot of this information from sfgate.com and the Unsolved Mysteries wiki, but he gets this promotion at work. He works at Toys R Us.
I've always wanted to work at Toys R Us. I'm not going to lie.
My mom did for a Christmas season when we were broke, and it was hell. And they would just play the same Christmas music over and over again. She had to stock all this toys, the midnight shift. I remember it not being great.
As somebody who used to collect a lot of toys, I really wanted to work there to get the inside scoop. But it never happened for me. And now they're gone, so whatever.
I know, but everything is looking Gilbert everything's going great, but within a week he is hospitalized with cardiac arrest, kidney failure, and pneumonia. He actually lapsed in and out of consciousness for 2 weeks, and he was in a coma for 10 straight days. So he tells the doctors that he thinks he might have been poisoned. He's trying to get himself all sexy for his wife Elizabeth, because he is a beanpole, scrawny little dude.
But didn't Elizabeth allude to him being too scrawny?
Yeah.
What
and
he
said
this guy for? I mean, you know what you were getting into. We're all adults.
I know, it's messed up.
It is. I just think it's kind of messed up, but maybe, so yeah, she made him this bodybuilding drink and gave it to him. We think.
Yeah, and it's not something I would ever say to another human being that you're not hot enough for me, but it is hard to be the woman and to be bigger than your dude. That is not a cute look as a woman. You always feel that. But I would never tell somebody you're not sexy enough. So, so she gives him this energy drink. He's I was trying to get bulked up for her, but I couldn't put on the weight. So she gave him an amino acid drink, not an energy drink. And she gives it to him with some McDonald's lunch. She dropped it by, but for some reason the shake is in a sports water bottle.
That's why I thought it was a sports drink.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I thought this episode was called Poison Snake for a long time. And I was where's the snake?
You're waiting for a snake to pop out.
Yeah, it was just a shake. So Gilbert says he drank it and it started burning his throat. So he gets sick immediately and just starts convulsing. So an ambulance comes, ships him off to the hospital. And for some reason, when the EMT was who gave you the shake? Who gave you the shake? He said, a friend. I don't even know. He didn't say his wife.
That's weird. The whole thing is, and she even didn't act as though she was involved in it.
Yeah, so she meets him at the ER. And they said that they thought they knew that something was in the sports drink that Elizabeth gave him to drink. So she's what? I've never seen that cup before. I don't know where he got that from. Now, while in the waiting room with Gilbert's sister, Brenda, Elizabeth receives a, quote, strange call wherein a masked man claims that he has her son, Jonathan. And she's oh my God, I'm freaking out. He has my son. He's going to kill him. So Brenda calls Elizabeth's mom to tell her that the baby is kidnapped. And the mom's no, that's not true. Jonathan's with me right now. So we know that Elizabeth is a liar. And we also learn that there's an insecticide, Ortho 7, in the cup. So Elizabeth...
What is Ortho 7?
It's an insecticide, I think, that you put on your grass cracks and stuff like that, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking it up real quick. I'm just kind of curious what's in it.
It's old. It'll apparently mess you up if a sip will kill you. So Elizabeth goes up to a nurse and she tells the nurse that she is like walking in the parking lot to the hospital. And this little boy is like, psst, come with me, come with me. So he takes her to a car with a masked man sitting in it. The masked man supposedly gives Elizabeth a bottle of Ortho 7 and says, this is what Gilbert drank. So Elizabeth's like, I don't know, maybe you should test him for this, and like gave it to the nurse. So the nurse immediately calls poison control and calls the cops because this story stinks to high heaven. So the police interview her about the masked man and she confessed, okay, I made it all up. I found the Ortho 7 at home and I thought Gilbert was trying to kill himself with it. So I was trying to cover him up so there was no like suicide shame over him. So the police are like, we'd like to have you take a polygraph test. And she's like, oh my God, would love to, but I have a job interview right now. So I'll come back later. And like 11 days pass, she never comes back. And police are ready to execute a search warrant. And they see that Elizabeth has skipped town with little baby Jonathan. Gilbert's like, that's when I knew for sure that she poisoned me when she went on the lam with our kids.
He comes off as such a nice guy.
I know. He really does seem like a little angel. And you said, I can't remember the word, but you said like innocent, like wimpy almost, something like that. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I'm not really sure. I might have called him wimpy. He just comes off as kind of like a string bean, you know, just, hey, I'm just, you know, dopey like guy.
A waif, like this little guy. Yeah. Who will try and lift weights and take amino acids because his wife doesn't think he's hot enough.
So weird. I do want to just say that it's called cypermethrin, which is the active ingredient in that poison. And it's, I mean, the symptoms for having it include all of the things that we're talking about, including loss of bladder control, seizures, and possible death.
Oh, my gosh.
Terrible.
Horrible. Yeah, horrible.
And you can buy this at Home Depot right now for about $12.
Yeah, and we do not recommend using it for anything other than its intended use.
But it kills ants, so that's good.
Oh, I can imagine what it does to ants. My God, if this is what it does to, like, men. But police are accusing Elizabeth of attempted murder with special circumstances. So Sergeant Anderson, who we meet on Unsolved Mysteries, she gets a call from the FBI saying that they have Elizabeth in custody. She is in Mexico. She was all by herself in Mexico. There was no baby. So everyone's like, where is baby Jonathan? She gets extradited back to Redwood City. She stands her trial. And Sergeant Anderson, this is pretty brilliant. She has an age-progressed photo put in the jail of baby Jonathan. So if Jonathan comes to visit his mom in the prison, police would know that's Jonathan.
And so the age progression was actually pretty good. For once.
Yeah. Honestly, we've seen some bad ones. I'm looking at you, the people who did Tammy Lynn Leppert's
one. My God, that one. It's like her grandma.
Yeah, it was so bad. But this one was really good. And it looked like, oh, that's how a human looks. I could see a little boy looking like that. So.
And we never get to see his face because, of course, they're protecting his exact identity.
But we get to see it because I got an update, people. But he comes to the jail. She gets a call from the deputy saying that there's a little boy who looks just like that age-progressed photo. He was living in Mexico, but he was brought to the prison by a relative. So the next day, Gilbert and Jonathan are reunited. Like you said, we don't see his face, but we see him like playing one-on-one basketball.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like he's spending this time with his dad, and his dad seems super, super happy to have him back in his life.
He's grinning from ear to ear, and we talk to Gilbert, who's like, I want to make up for the 8 years that I didn't have him in my life. Like, all that I want to do now is bond with my son. And apparently, Gilbert still suffers from long-term nerve damage, and he can't walk without assistance. He has been quoted as saying that the nerve damage, quote, feels like someone is tearing off your skin from the inside.
I'd be very pissed off this whole time. Like,
can you imagine?
It's really bad, and it's one of those things also, it was preventable. Like this didn't have to be done to him.
I know, but
should have just taken the kid.
Yeah, I mean, totally. But here's where we get to the juice of the story.
Yeah, this is where we learn that maybe there's more layers to Gilbert than we realized.
Exactly. Elizabeth Fuentes Ortiz, who, is the wife, she was convicted of attempted murder and sentenced to 25 years to life plus 6 years for child abduction.
She looks tough, too.
Oh my God, I would not want to be her Sally. Yeah. But they have actually released her after serving 13 years. So
she seems super nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing good behavior and stuff. I'm sure she wants to get out and see her son. So she says, like, I poisoned him, okay, but it was in self-defense because I was in an abusive marriage and I was raped all the time. It was horrible. Now, not saying it's true or not saying that that's justification or not, but it is worth noting that in September of 1991, Gilbert was arrested on domestic violence charges.
With who? Do we know who?
With Elizabeth.
With her, okay.
Yeah.
Just, you never know these days. It's kind of like, could have been at work or whoever else they might be living with. There just seems to be so much information not in this story. That's all.
And speaking of which, little baby Jonathan, innocent little baby Jonathan, in 2010, he was convicted of 2 counts of beating and pulling a knife on Gilbert, his dad.
Boy.
We get a mugshot of him. We will post it on the Unsolved Mysteries. But apparently, Jonathan blamed Gilbert for having his mom incarcerated for trying to kill him. So he beat his dad, who, keep in mind, can't walk without assistance, beat him to a pulp once in June of 2010 and again in October 2010.
And he's a doppelganger for his dad. So
they look so alike.
Maybe Jonathan's a little bulky or he was able to get the extra weight on.
Yeah, he does look like he's been doing those amino acid shakes. But
he can get along with his mom well. But
it's interesting though to know that in 2010 is when his mom was actually denied parole for the first time. So maybe that is what set him off. But Gilbert tried to cover for Jonathan because he had to go to the hospital for these beatings, and he said that both times he was mugged at knife point. A family member, though, who heard the beating, contacted the detectives from the poison shake case and said that Jonathan beat Gilbert while repeatedly screaming about how it was Gilbert's fault that Elizabeth was incarcerated, which is so misguided.
So crazy. Think of the scenario that's going on here, and I'm sure you have. You have this public story where your dad has gone through all of this because of your mom, and if you watch Unsolved Mysteries, I'm going to guess he has. It's like he on the surface has this like wonderful new relationship with his father and everything, and now you're beating the crap out of him because your mother poisoned him and is being was arrested for it.
But maybe this whole time Elizabeth's telling him like he used to beat me. I'm just, he had to, and I know sons feel so protective over their moms. Sure. And I couldn't. It's so misguided, though. I mean, poor Gilbert. But maybe Gilbert also did. We
don't know the whole story.
We don't know. Yeah. He ends up pleading no contest to felony assault and said it was in self-defense because his dad's an abusive alcoholic. And he ended up receiving a 5-year suspended sentence. But in 2012, Jonathan and I quote 2 other gang members were charged with attacking a man in a Redwood City bar with a broken beer bottle.
Maybe they need to get out of Redwood City.
Oh my God, this case is so messed up.
So is he free now? Is Jonathan out and about? Do we know?
Unclear. I wish I had that info. I'm sure he probably is because California and the overcrowding. I mean, you saw she had 25 years to life plus 6 years, got out in 13. Like he probably is out. The last assault happened in 2012.
Wow. And do we know about how old Jonathan is right now? His 30s?
Okay.
He was 8 years old when did they get back together? In 2000?
I know, I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm sorry, I'm throwing like curveballs your way.
No, that's okay. Okay, so this happened. Crap.
Probably about your age. I'm going to just throw it out there.
I think that's fair. Let's do that. Okay, 92, he was 2. So, yeah, he was born in 90.
Okay, so he's about, 30 years old. He's been through a lot. That's kind of crazy. It's Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that brings us to the end of this story. Hopefully we never hear from Jonathan again. Hopefully, unless it's something positive.
I'm going to go out on a wire here and say I don't want to hear from any of the people mentioned in this episode.
Oh, personally, I don't want to hear from them. But I mean, let's hope
if
they
I
stay
get
out
a backwards letter in the mail, I'm going to lose my mind.
As I write one.
I know, right?
No backwards letters, no creepy mail. I already sent you a creepy mail.
Yeah, you did.
The book bomb.
Oh my God, yeah. So you guys know that we covered the cookbook Zip Gun Bomber. Mark sent me the same exact cookbook and just said, "Don't be scared."
I shouldn't have warned you. I kind of regret warning you that you were that a book was coming or something.
It was
coming.
thin book. I was like, "How thin was that gun?" Dave?
I really thought about that, and I talked to my son about it, and we're playing around with the idea of kind of creating something, and then I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't do that with my 12-year-old.
Yeah, maybe not.
But it's kind of a fun thing to think about, when it comes to experiments and that kind of stuff. But
the views of Mark do not reflect my views.
I always wanted to find a book that's cut out. When you open it up, it's the shape of a little .22 revolver or something.
Like Shawshank Redemption style.
Tonight we have been confronted with an entire catalog of unexplained and unsolved events. Tune in next time as Unsolved Mysteries Rewind discusses another collection of unsolved mysteries. Until then, we can only look and wonder.